Hello everybody, I'm just waiting for the blue circle to end. I'm going to have to find out something else to say instead of that every time. And hoping that I'm going to get a few people who jump on live with me today. Hello everybody, it's Heather Farrell here, coming to you with another episode of the Legit eBiz show. I think we might be on about number 7 if I'm not mistaken. But today I have an amazing topic to discuss with you, and it's something that everybody in business, whether it's brick and mortar or online, needs to think about and do in their business, and that is getting new qualified leads on a regular basis. It can be easier said than done, right? And sometimes it's a costly thing that we end up doing. So I've got a great new strategy that I want to share with you, and I'm just hoping that whoever is going to be coming on live or whoever might watch this as a replay, just pound it in the comments below and say that you're either here live or you are watching on the replay, because that helps to get the video higher in the algorithm and it will be shown more often. So you'll see videos like this more often, and it will help me too. So I would appreciate that. So yeah, definitely let me know. And with this particular video today, the result that you're going to get by the end of it is that you're going to learn a great strategy to attract your right fit client and get more warm qualified leads into your business on a regular basis without the high advertising costs that we're so used to, right? It's a great strategy that a lot of people are using today, brand new entrepreneurs to some of the most successful people that we see doing anything online at the moment. So it's definitely worth the wait. I just wanted to say I'm referring to my notes here because I've got some really specific things that I want to talk to you about. And one of the questions that I wanted to ask is that, how many of us have paid too much money and wasted too much time getting leads that weren't even qualified, right? And probably one of the biggest problems with that is that, okay, yeah, the time and the money for sure, but the time that it takes to comb through them. I mean, I've been in, and I'm not complaining, I've been in the fortunate position where I found myself in the sudden position of having a bunch of new leads, like a couple of hundred brand new leads, which is great, and you're all excited because you're automatically thinking the best, and that these are all going to be your qualified target clients, right? And of course they're not. And the time that it takes to go through that list is so arduous because it can often take more than one time for you to reach out to them. You might need to email them once or twice or a few times before you can actually ascertain, are they even somebody who I could even bring into my world, into my realm, and do anything with? Or was it just an obscure person who took this free lead magnet, for example? And I'll give you a good example because I recently did a live, and I made a post too in a Facebook group where I talked about Clubhouse and asked if anybody was new to Clubhouse and do you need some guidance? Do you need some help maneuvering around in there? And I was absolutely inundated with replies, which I love. And believe me, like I say, I'm not complaining at all. But the thing is the people who replied could be anybody, could be people who don't have a business, could be people who have a completely different type of business. If I'm a businesswoman who's looking to work with other businesswomen, for example, let's just say, that's who I want my target to be, right? And meanwhile, the ones who came back to me in this, at least 3/4 of them are going to be not my right fit client. And so the time that it's going to take me to weed through that is probably time, it's a lot more time than it would have taken me if I'd have figured out a more clever way in the beginning to reach out to who is my right fit client, right? And that's kind of one example of what I want to talk to you about today. So, and the reason why is because, I mean, I've been there on the receiving end, on the other end of having spent too much time or money on what I thought was going to be leads. And I'm not talking about the Clubhouse thing that I did here, but advertising, for example, and just losing. I mean, you may as well just, throw that money literally right down the toilet or light it on fire, because if you don't know what you're doing, because the ads go that quick and you're just so hopeful, aren't you? And you think, oh, I've just learned a new thing and I'm going to get it this time. It's going to work. It's going to work. And I mean, like, I've been there, I know. And I also know from my clients and other entrepreneurs who I met in the journey along the way, I'm certainly not the only one. And what you wind up doing is not only the wasting the time and money, but you doubt your own abilities, right? And it takes a little bit of a toll mentally. It takes a little piece of you. You're thinking, geez, how many more times am I going to try that? And it's just not going. It's not going. And it's nothing to do with your ability. It's the fact that there are huge gaps in the information that you don't know. And you don't know it until you know you don't know it. It's true. And I remember when I first heard that first guy saying that statement, and it was all, I'm not even going to go into what was going on in the world at the time. Some of you can probably remember, but it's true. We don't know what we don't know until we know we didn't know it. And that's the case for so many things, so many of these pieces with business, with online business, with being an entrepreneur. Because it's sort of like you're kind of expected to have this like innate knowledge and instinct. And in some cases you do, and in some areas, but certainly not all. Not very many. I mean, the few people who do are very, very rare in this world, and they're very, very like up there, right? So, I mean, Elon Musk comes to mind, and there's many others, but taking that pressure off and not having to expect yourself to have all those answers up front is going to do you a world of good. And that's kind of like my vulnerable share, is that, I've definitely put that load on myself in the past and felt the weight of it when, it didn't pan out and you tried a new strategy, it didn't work. You loaded another one on and it didn't work. And now you've got two you're trying to juggle. And then there's another one, right, that comes up and that somebody says, oh, you need to be doing all these things. And we don't need to be doing all these things. What we need to be doing, and what I want to take a stand for, is to forget about being the overwhelmed entrepreneur, because you don't have to do everything at once, and you shouldn't do everything at once, in fact. And I've been mentioning a lot in my live videos lately, and I like to repeat this because it's so beneficial for us. There's this little like juicy tidbit of information going around these days about the quote that most millionaires have up to 7 streams of income. And that's great, and it's probably true, maybe even more. But what they didn't do was build them all at one time. And I think that is the other half of the story that's so much more important to know than even the first part. Even knowing that there's more than one business they have to become a millionaire, okay, that's good to know. But knowing that you don't have to create them all at once is everything, because that's the difference between making it and breaking it. If you're going to try to create them all at one time, you're almost certainly going to fail. Not very many people do. Not very many people do. And in fact, that, like I say, that's the second part of that statement that just conveniently gets forgotten. So please keep that in mind, and be kind with yourself as you slowly go through and figure out what you need to do. I'm not saying you need to move slowly. Once you know which direction you want to go, take the brake off and go as fast as you want. But stay the course and pick your path and your strategies and your products wisely. And then stick with them. Give them a chance to take root, right? Sometimes people, the first time it doesn't take off, or it doesn't sell, or you don't get 100 sales, or a bunch of new leads from this tactic or whatever, you just abandon it altogether. And it may have only needed one little tiny tweak. So keep that in mind. And yeah, let me progress through. And I'm going to revert back to my notes again to make sure that I'm on track here. So the strategy that I'm going to teach you about today, now, in this video today, is going to help you so much. And the biggest thing that I want you to remember and to think about is that the cost of not doing this is what's really so important to remember and to know, because we all will continue to lose time and money by going down these other paths of lead generation that either cost a bunch of money to do in the first place by ads or whatever, but also they give us these unqualified leads, cold, unqualified leads. What could be worse? It's almost worse than no lead at all. Because the no lead at all, at least, is not going to suck out all the life out of you and out of your business and your energy trying to find out if this mountain of leads is going to turn into anything for you. So keep that in mind, and know that by not trying something new that resonates with you, that sounds like a good idea of a new thing to do and to try, means that you will almost certainly stay where you are, which really means that you'll fall further behind, right? Because that's the one of the laws of the universe. If you're not moving forward, you're falling behind, because everything else is moving forward, even if it's slowly. So what I do want to say is with this one strategy, what you will do and what you will get if you do decide to do it is you're gonna build your authority in your space, which is so important. Because today, in this digital world, with even people who've been the holdouts, not getting online, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to buy, I'm not going to sell, I'm not going to, and now they are, because they have to be. They had to be during this last year, right? It was sort of like they came dragging them in. So they're looking all over the place, aren't they? And the more places and things you can have a presence in, the more you're going to build your authority. And I don't want to say that and have you mistakenly think that I'm saying you need to be everywhere and load all that on in the same way that the millionaires would load all on building 7 different businesses at one time. No. And to say in the online space and what you're going to do, different social media channels that you're going to be in, or whatever content you're going to like put out there, we do the same thing. We pick one, you stay the course, you develop that one and make it great, and then you pick another one once it's kind of self-sustaining, and then you rinse and repeat. And that's the whole process of scaling, really, I think. And so now I've got a little cat gonna come and probably say hello. So that's who's meowing in the background. This is the joys of doing live video. All I have to do is pick up the squirt bottle and she goes. She doesn't like it at all, whereas the other one just kind of stands there and lets herself be squirted. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So yeah, you will build your authority in the space, which is huge, one space at a time. You're going to end up nurturing your existing clients and your prospects as well with this one strategy I'm going to teach you about, which is awesome, right? Because so many times the things we do, it's one or the other. It's focused on the people, your clients you already have, or the clients you don't have and you're trying to get. This is going to do both in one swoop, which is beautiful. You definitely will increase your touch points as well. Now, what do I mean by that? Today, they estimate that people, including you and me, all need up to 7 touch points before we feel comfortable buying from anybody. And touch points could be an email. They could be seeing your logo somewhere on Facebook or something. They could be hearing your voice on Clubhouse or on a video ad or on YouTube or a podcast or something like that. Any number of these ways that somebody might stumble upon you or your message or your brand, your company. These are ways that we need 7 of them before somebody's like ready to say, okay, I believe this person. I think that they're, not a fly by night and they're actually legit. And now I'm going to start paying attention and see if there's something here that I want, right? So this strategy will also increase your touch points in a big way, in a really big way. You'll definitely improve your credentials. That goes without saying, along with your authority, as I mentioned. And you can increase your client retention too, automatically, because the more people get to know you and your message and what you stand for, the ones who are not your right fit client will naturally just fall away. And the ones who are your right fit will dig their heels deeper into the ground around you and just stay there with you. Like, it's beautiful. And of course, not the best, but certainly not inconsequential either. You'll definitely, increase your cash flow and your sales big time, which in the end, that's what we're all doing, right? I know some of us might be doing nonprofits or have a component of nonprofit, which is great, or charity, which is awesome. But the bottom line is in business, if you're not making money, you're not going to be in business long. So we need that cash flow, no matter what our beliefs are around that and whatnot. That was smooth. I tried to push mute on my microphone and clear my throat, and it did the opposite. It didn't. Anyway, you saw that, so I learned something. Anyway, sorry. Let me carry on and get to the piece de la resistance and let you know if you want all of these results, and stay tuned because I'm going to get to them right now. And the one tool that I want to share with you and talk to you about that is going to overcome the problem of getting cold and wrong fit leads that you're paying money for is by doing virtual challenges today. That's what I want to talk to you about. And this is a strategy that is so effective. I can't even tell you how many ways. Let me start by saying what it is. And a virtual challenge is usually held in a Facebook group, although it does not have to be. It's just that's a really convenient way, a mechanism to deliver the information to the people. And most people are on Facebook. There's some who aren't, and you could always save your training videos for later and upload them to YouTube, and they don't even have to be public. They can be listed, and you can send out URLs or another holding place for videos if you want to share it that way. You can do that too. But basically, with the challenge, what you're doing is you're setting a timeline. You have a goal that people and a result that people are going to achieve and accomplish in that time frame, and you lead them through it. And it's beautiful. There's no really right or wrong way. Well, there's a few wrong things you can do. That is definitely true. But there's like no like set, it's got to be this or that. You could have challenges can be one day. They could be a couple of hours. I've done a challenge before that was like an organize this space, tidy up sort of challenge. That was a 3-hour challenge. It was a 2-3 day because we had a let's get to know you on the first day and get ready and amped up for this. Then the second day was the actual doing of the thing, and then the third day was let's analyze and maybe talk about are you going to do it somewhere else. But the actual challenge itself was only that number of hours. I've also done challenges that are 5 days and 10 days. I've heard of, less and longer. Although there's a lot of good reasons to not really go much past 10 days or 2 weeks. There's the odd one that goes 20 or 30 days, and that's just a long time. You get somewhat of drop off at that point. But there's a formula to it and a structure to it, but basically what you're doing is you're going to give the people a win, right? And you might be thinking to yourself, well, geez, I don't know what kind of a topic I would do for a challenge. What do I know that somebody else would want to know, or that I'm an authority already that I can actually take people through and do this with? And you may be an authority, you may not. You may just even be a person who wants to do a thing, and you're going to put it out there and say, who's going to come with me? And people will come with you. They will, because that's how human nature is. It's like, wow, okay. I'm going to, an example I use all the time is a 30-day challenge to stick a 3-minute plank, which I think is no small feat. I haven't done it yet. I keep intending to put that challenge out there and doing it, but I keep getting busy doing other things and other challenges, so I haven't yet, but I think that would be a great one. And yeah, something like that. One that I did before that was really popular was kicking out the nighttime snacking habit and stopping eating after 8 o'clock. And excuse me, the results of that were really good because people could actually see a measurable result from day 1 to day 10, provided that they were actually doing the things, right? And taking the tips and implementing them. Because each day I would have a tip, a strategy on how to make it easier for yourself to stop eating after dinner, basically. And they work. If you're motivated and you want to do it, they definitely work. So you want to be able to have it long enough that people are going to get a result from it, right? So that's kind of more the strategy behind it. But basically, the reason why they're so effective as far as your lead generation goes and finding your right fit client is because you would set the challenge up in the beginning with the end in mind. So whatever it is you're wanting them to do at the end of your challenge is where you're going to begin. And whatever that means, if that means you have to have a lead page, a funnel page set up, or some kind of a free offer or a paid offer or whatever it is, you're going to have that ready to go. And when you've got this started, you're looking at it from where the people are going to end up. Then you reverse engineer it and you build it out, right? Okay, what do we have to do to get to that point? And from the beginning to the offer stage of the challenge, because they all are going to have an offer at the end, you're not going to just keep running these things for nothing, right? Even if the offer is just come into my inner circle or my biweekly newsletter. Like it doesn't have to be, you know, hundreds or thousands of dollars of an offer or a course. It can be something simple just that keeps them in your universe, right? So that you can now continue to send them information and occasionally send them offers. Because you know the people who selected, and this is the point, the people who selected into this are already your right fit client, because they wouldn't have come in if they didn't want that thing that you're promising them at the end, which is entirely around your business. So the beauty of it is that people are self-selecting just by you deciding on the parameters of the challenge. That's automatically going to help you to dictate who is going to want to come into it. And at the end, the people who've gone through, the other reason why it's so effective is because they've just had all this time with you. And those 7 touch points I was talking about before, definitely you will catapult over top of some, if not even all of them, because they've had sufficient time to warm up to you, to get to know you, to see if they believe you, if they feel like you know what the heck you're talking about, if they like your vibe, right? And they want to, you know, continue to sort of do something with you. That's what it really boils down to. Whereas those 7 touch points in the non-challenge world, those are usually pretty, they're pretty one-sided, because even if it's a video and they can see and hear you, they're not necessarily interacting with you. So there's that side of it. But that's why the challenges can be so effective and help you to really attract those right people in. And at the end, you can take them wherever you want to go, where whatever that might mean for you and your business, like I say. So think about that when you're considering the idea about doing a challenge. And if you want to think further about it, what I would suggest you would do is make yourself a list of challenge ideas. What makes sense for a challenge idea for my business? You know, and make a little list and brainstorm for a little while. And then make another list and look at, you know, what would prevent you from doing it in the first place. And probably one thing, if this is a brand new concept to you, is literally not knowing the structure or the model or how to do it. And the last thing is like, the last list would be like, what kind of support do you need in order to do this? And for me, what I do is I step in and help you to connect all those dots. And if this sounds like something that you think would be beneficial for your business, I would like for you to type in the chat or to DM me directly and say more information, more challenge information. And I can provide you with, I've got a free resource, as a matter of fact, that you can take up if you want to. That is 77 hot challenge ideas. And what it is, there might even be an idea in there that works for you and your business, and you could just literally pick it right out and put it to work, put it into place. But it will give you like some food for thought, and it'll get the juices flowing, and you'll be like, oh, that's the kind of thing people are doing. Okay, I get it. And you'll start naturally thinking about how can you do it and pull it into your business life and your structure, what you do and what you offer. Yeah, there's a lot of information in there, and it even touches on a free training that's happening soon from the world expert on challenge strategy, how to do them successfully. These types of trainings are usually very rare. They usually only happen once or twice a year at the most, and that's the model. Like, that's what I'm saying. All of these things, all of these ideas I share with you, and the different structures and strategies and businesses and everything, there's a model for everything. And this is what we're not, you don't need to expect yourself to know going in, because there's so much, there's so many, and you don't need to do them all at once. Like I'm saying earlier, what you do need to do is to identify what looks like would be a really smart idea for you and your business, a really easy way to stop making the same mistakes we've been making. And we're all doing it because we're all in the same digital world doing kind of pretty much the same things. And this is a really great way to stand out from the crowd, to stand out from your competition and from other service providers who are in your space, because not very many people in the grand scheme of things are doing them yet. And probably your competitors are not, at least not in the way that you would. And that's the whole bottom line, because there are people out there waiting for you and your message and your service and business to help them. And they are not going to be attracted to me or to your other competitors because we're just not a fit. And that's fine. That's the way it is. That's the way it is for me and everybody else too. It's about finding the best ways to try and find your right fit target clients easier, and that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg, and that you can just do. So this is definitely one of those ways. So I'm going to wrap this up and just remind you again, if anybody stumbles on this video and wants more information on it, send me a DM or put a comment in the chat and just say more challenge information, and I will get it to you. You can be assured of that. And in the meantime, I would like to let you know as well that once again, this Legit eBusiness show, it's a podcast actually, is going to be, it's a weekly show that I do every Thursday, and I believe it is 5:30 Pacific. I'm just a little bit unsure because of the recent time change. Yes, it is 5:30 Pacific every Thursday. So please do mark it on your calendar and show up live, because I would love to have some people on here engaging and even asking questions. That would be great. If you do have any questions, put those in the chat as well, and I'll be happy to address those. So on that note, I will say all the best to you and your business, and I'll see you again next week, everybody.